Chapter 16. Raphael. I promise it shouldn't be that bad. Once Michael is done overseeing the demons, the trial will get started. Do you feel prepared? Raphael stops them just inside the courtroom and smiles at him. Cassiel looks at him and nods. I think so. Small mice peek out of Cassiel's pockets. Good. Raphael gives him a pat on the back. He's proud of how Cassiel is taking his responsibility. General, Raguel comes in with a smile on his bright face. Generals, I should say. Good morning to you both. Hello there, Raguel, and good morning to you as well. Raphael looks around a moment. Where is your counterpart? Speaking with his host, he thumbs a finger over at the door. Gabriel stopped him before he could walk in here. Not sure what for, but that's between an angel and his host, I suppose. Speaking of, have you seen Michael yet? Raphael asks. Or was he supposed to come later? Should have been here already to oversee the demons speaking with the Crown Prince. Raguel sets a few things on his table. Was my understanding that he would be present as well as Death for that conversation? He shakes his head. It should have been the counselors as well, but Death rejected my request. There is a rumbling, and the room begins to shake. What is that? Cassiel backs into Raphael, scared. The room lurches, and Cassiel falls into Raphael's arms to keep his balance. I don't know. Raphael turns to Raguel. What magic be this? Leviathan rushes into the room, sword drawn, the demonic counselor Lucas beside him, his weapon also at the ready. Be this the work of heaven? He asks sternly. I pray thee, angels, speak. We don't know, your highness. Raphael speaks and keeps a hold of Cassiel. Give us a moment. We're just as confused as you are. General, Raguel points to the door beside the pedestal where Death should have been sitting for the trial. Vines and things are growing out from under the crack in the door. That's not good, he says, backing up slightly and stepping up onto his chair as the vines start to cover the floor and grass grows beneath their very feet. A scream draws their attention to the door that begins to break as more vines begin to slither out into the open. That was Michael. Raphael looks back as Gabriel enters the room with Phanuel. Gabriel! Raphael points at the door. Gabriel pushes through and looks at the demons. Is Michael in there? He turns that question to Raphael's finger, pointed squarely in the doorway. I think so. I heard Michael scream. He turns to Phanuel. Take Cassiel back to heaven. General, Phanuel steps forward in protest. That's an order, soldier. Raphael barks and then glances at Leviathan. This is hell's doing, Gabriel mutters, manifesting his sword from the air. We'll see you destroyed for this. Leviathan, Raphael is thankful, holds his tongue. We don't know that, Gabriel, Raphael says firmly. Another scream makes Leviathan visibly jump. Beelzebub, brother. What if it is both? Lucas argues, stepping up on a chair next to Raguel when the vines start to climb him. What if they're destroying one another? We will go in together, side by side, Raphael says, and reaches behind himself, pulling his bow from nothing. Your Highness. He motions to Leviathan, who comes forward with his sword and starts to hack at the vines as they push toward the doorway. Raphael stays behind his back, Gabriel just behind them, and Lucas follows too. 'Tis thicker than the jungles of South America, he growls. Hold fast. The group stops, and Leviathan holds up a hand. I shall make a way for us. He fists his hand, and the vines start to wither. Water flows out of them and onto his arm before trickling upwards. Water begins to flow out of all the plants growing up the walls, retaining a spot near the ceiling. Raphael watches with awe. Cut them now while I have them droughted. 'Tis the only way. Gabriel doesn't waste any time, pushing ahead of the demon and Raphael to look around the room. "Michael?" He starts to cut his way through the vines and climbs over massive roots. Raphael is looking left and right when his eyes fall upon Beelzebub, slumped over on his side. Raphael puts a hand over his mouth. Raphael looks back at Leviathan and pauses before he swallows. "We'll get him, find thine own brother." Leviathan is insistent. He looks at Lucas. "Fetch the crown." He stands still, arms tangled in the vine as he works. "I can hold the water from the vines, but I must remain here to do so." Raphael stalls briefly, but departs into the room, stepping over large dying vines, the leaves crackling under his feet. He turns, seeing Gabriel kneeling and a pair of legs. "Michael!" He rushes over to where the angel lay against the wall, chest heaving, sword at his side. "The demons did this," Gabriel growls as he pulls vines away from Michael's body. "Say the word, and I will send them all this moment in the name of the Lord." "Beelzebub tried to capture him," Michael says. "It was just Nergal planning his escape. The prince didn't know, couldn't have known," Michael says, holding his side. "Nergal attacked us both." "Where is Death? Wasn't he supposed to be here with you?" Gabriel looks at Raphael, who only shrugs. He doesn't have any idea about that. Raphael is too busy working on pulling vines away from Michael's legs. "Summoned away, I suppose. That gave Nergal the opportunity to attempt—" Michael looks exhausted. "Well, to escape." Raphael cups his chin and looks at the bruising on his face. "I'm all right." "No, you are not." Raphael kneels closer to get a better look at him. Broken arm, shoulder, leg. He looks at Gabriel. "We can argue about whose fault this is at another time. We need to get him back upstairs." Raphael closes his eyes and channels some of his holy power into Michael, who looks relieved by the motion. "I can only dull his pain. He needs to be in heaven." Gabriel nods. "Let's go." He takes Raphael's hand. "We'll have words tomorrow, demon." He glares at Leviathan in the doorway, who only seems to sheath his sword and stand there. The demonic lawyer is carrying their prince in his arms and vanishes with him. "I'll look forward to its messenger." Leviathan turns his head to Raphael. "General Raphael." Gabriel releases Raphael's hand. Lifting Michael in his arms, Gabriel vanishes with him. Raphael knows he should follow, but he stands looking around to make sure they're alone. "I love thee." A whisper, barely a note on the air, but Raphael turns to Leviathan's voice. "Thine heart is but all I live for, dearest Raphael. I hope your brother heals quickly." Their fingers brush barely. It's all Raphael can do to hold himself back. "I promise nothing will happen between the messenger and myself." "And I love you, Levi. Heaven sends its best regards for Prince Beelzebub's quick healing," Raphael says, but pulls back. "I'll talk to Gabriel, okay?" "Will your beauty ever grace my eyes again?" Leviathan asks, voice just above a whisper, cracking. Raphael shakes his head. "I don't know." Leviathan reaches forward and pulls Raphael into his arms, embracing him tightly. "I love thee." Raphael looks up. "You're a fool." "Indeed." He kisses Raphael. "Go," he says. "I must go too." Raphael steals another deep kiss. "I'll try to get away. 2 days from now, at dawn," Raphael says, backing away. "At the waterfall." Leviathan bows. "My heart, I will be there." He vanishes, and Raphael does the same. Destination heaven. Once in heaven, he reaches up to right his hair, working to control his emotions before he goes further down the hallway. "Where did Gabriel take the High Commander?" He stops an angel in the corridor. An angel, Tariel, points down the hallway. "To his room, sir." He bows to Raphael before he continues. "Many thanks." Raphael rushes towards Michael's room, where Phanuel, Raguel, and Cassiel wait outside. "Go to your rooms, rest, and I will let you know when there is something more to tell." He nods. Raguel looks like he doesn't want to go. "Your host is alive. I will let you know what is going on, I assure you, but I must see to him first. Dismissed." Cassie comes to Raphael and hugs him tightly before turning away with the lower-ranked angels, who bookend him as if protecting him as they go. Small animals begin to come out of small hiding places in the hallway and follow them. Raphael knocks before entering the room where Gabriel is sitting beside Michael, lying in his recliner chair. "Gabriel, will you go get a bottle of rose water? I think that should help ease his pain a little while I reset his bones." "Angels should not be able to be harmed like this," Gabriel mutters and stands. "Well, we can be, by others of our kind," Raphael says, taking the vacated seat and taking Michael's hand. "They are no longer our kind," Gabriel says firmly, folding his arms over his chest. "They are outcasts." Raphael ignores Gabriel's protests as he meets Michael's eyes. "You look like hell," Michael adds. "Don't say that here." Gabriel laughs a little and turns. "I'll get a bottle or two of rose water and be back soon." He pats Raphael's shoulder before leaving out the door. "What do we do with you, Raphael stands up a little, taking his arm and rolling it. Michael flinches, but the shoulder sets. "There we go." He turns his attention to Michael's leg and holds a hand over it. "It'll be a few days before we have you up and moving around again." Michael nods. "You need to let me and Gabriel handle the day-to-day dealings." "We need to find Nergal," Michael says. "Gabriel can have Cassie get the watches on it." Raphael smiles at him. "But right now, you have yourself to worry over." Michael takes his hand. Raphael looks up at him. "What is it?" "Thank you." "You're welcome. Now rest." Raphael smiles at him. "We'll get through this." Raphael hopes they will. "Gabriel wants to go to war," Michael says softly. "Attack hell head on." Raphael frowns. "No, and you have my vote against that. You said that the prince tried to stop Nergal. That's all I need to know. And he was worse off looking than you by the looks of his injuries. Only God knows if he will survive them." Michael closes his eyes. "Is something wrong?" "No, but I want to send a letter to hell. Would you be able to take a note for me?" Michael squeezes his hand. "Of course," Raphael smiles. "After I see these bruises." He touches Michael's face, and the bruising backs away from the skin. "It'll still hurt, mind you, but others won't have to see it." He beams. "I'm glad you're okay." "Me too," Michael says softly. "Me too. If hell sends anything up, I want to see it immediately. And if you hear from Death, you're to bring him straight here. Rather, I want to speak to Death personally." Raphael can only smile at him and nod. "Okay." He reaches up, pushing the blonde hair out of Michael's face. "You're getting shaggy." "Would you cut it for me? Get it out of my eyes?" Michael asks. "Of course." Raphael beams at him. Gabriel walks in with 2 bottles and 3 glasses. "I thought perhaps we could all use a drink." Raphael chuckles. "I think so, too." He sits back. "Pop the cork, and let us be as we once were."